Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Edmonton Oilers Throwback 2010 franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we simulated the rest of the 2012-13 season, and obviously we missed the playoffs, which is great, and we've also secured the first overall pick in the 2013 draft, which is fantastic, because obviously this is the year where Nathan MacKinnon is supposed to go first overall, so we're going to be getting ourselves a nice franchise player, and I'm very excited to see what he could do for this team. Obviously, he could end up being like the Connor McDavid to this team in the future, so very excited to draft him first overall. And also, there's going to be some other good players probably that we are able to steal throughout this draft class, but very excited just to see what we end up picking up and what other teams end up drafting as well, because this is the last year of custom draft classes, so after this draft, we need to remember to basically turn up the draft quality a little bit, so that way in the future years it's not as bad. So yeah, it kind of sucks that this is the last year of custom draft classes, but it is a good one to go out on. So excited for the draft. Resign stage-wise, it's not going to be super and crazy, but excited to see maybe if we could pull off a deal for Sam Gagner in this episode. Obviously, Sam Gagner was an RFA all season, so it would be nice if we could find a way to trade him at this draft and get rid of his contract. Obviously, well, he's not really, I guess, under contract technically, but get rid of his rights and basically bring in maybe some stuff for the future. So excited for that as well, and seeing what this team is going to potentially be looking like going into next season. But anyways, before we get into that draft, let's get in your guys' comments, see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll see what we end up doing in terms of this year's draft, and also some movement, potentially, too. So the first comment is from Max Effort, who says, don't need to worry about a sniper when you have an Eberle on the verge of scoring 30 goals. And yeah, that's kind of true. Like, I was hoping that Nathan MacKinnon was a sniper. I actually made him a playmaker, but I guess having Eberle almost being a 30-goal scorer, it really doesn't matter that much, because Eberle is starting to develop into being a pretty good player for this team. I'm excited to see what he could do down the road. Obviously, he's got back-to-back seasons with over 50 points. You can see also he's never scored less than 20 goals, and he's been getting better every single year. He's obviously only got the 4 games of playoff experience, so hopefully once we get back to the postseason down the road, he's a good goal scorer there as well. But he looks like he should be pretty good in terms of goal scoring as long as he's next to a good playmaker. So somebody like Cameron or even Nathan MacKinnon, for instance, he should be able to pick up a decent chunk of points. The next comment is from Senator Taku, who says, Ryan Pulock wouldn't be a bad shout as a right-handed defenseman, provided his potential is greater than a medium 6. For sure, go with all the players you have pinned. That offensive defenseman looks like he could be the best steal of this draft. So, yeah, Ryan Pulock might not be a bad option for our other first-round pick this year. We only have one first-rounder, right? Or do we have multiple? I can't remember. Let me double-check on that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we have an early second rounder, technically. So, I guess technically with our first overall pick, obviously, we're going to be taking Nathan MacKinnon. But he's saying, I guess, in a way that we shouldn't, we should look at potentially drafting Ryan Pulock as well. I'm pretty sure I did make him a medium 4, not a medium 6. Ryan Pulock is supposed to go, where is he supposed to go? Late first round. So if we could get maybe like a late first round pick and some other stuff in exchange for, obviously, for basically Sam Gagner, maybe we should draft Ryan Pulock with one of those selections. He's not necessarily the greatest player right now, but he could end up becoming a decent top 4 defenseman, and obviously being a right-handed, I think, is a nice little thing. So we might look into Ryan Pulock potentially if we could get rid of Gagner early on. If we can't get rid of Gagner for players in this draft class, obviously we'll trade him for future years and stuff like that instead, but I'm kind of hoping that Gagner could fetch us a good chunk of either picks and or prospects. He also says the offensive defenseman looks like he could be the best steal of this draft class, which I agree with. Obviously, we were looking at a little bit more at the potential players, and there is this guy named Esamaki who is a right-handed offensive defenseman, lowly potential guaranteed. Already has good shooting categories, is listed as a gem. He is 5 years out, but he should be a pretty good steal for our prospect pool on that defensive side of things. So definitely got to look into drafting him, and also some of these other guys that we had pinned as well that are gems, like Jamie Nelson, for instance. Also this Corbin Rodriguez dude. And of course, this Roman Rosa guy who's a guaranteed medium elite, but he is 20 years old, but we probably still will end up drafting him just for the potential alone. And the last and final comment is from Jared the Rabbit, who says, I pronounce his name without the K, so more like Mihonov. So he's talking about one of the guys that I was looking at, I guess. Where was he? Let me actually just go to Russia because it might make it a little bit easier to find where he is. Let's see. Where are you, Mihonov? I don't even remember where he's supposed to go. But anyways, yeah, he's saying to basically pronounce the, I guess I was thinking it's pronounced like Mikhanov. He was saying it's pronounced like Mahonov. So we just got to remember not to pronounce it with the K or anything. So anyways, there's that. Let's make sure our block is set up in terms of trades for this draft as well, if I can already, which I don't remember where I got to do this. Can I not edit my trading block right before the draft? Or am I just blind? Let me just make sure I'm actually seeing this right. I guess I can't edit my trading block before the draft. That's kind of strange. I thought I could, but I literally do not see it at all. Pending free agents, contracts. Yeah, it looks like I can't. That's weird. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to go into the draft and kind of see what we could get for Sam Gagner. Hopefully there's teams that are actually interested in him because, like I said, Sam Gagner, a little bit of a problematic player, and we already kind of have a replacement now with Cameron. And since we're drafting Nathan MacKinnon first overall as well, likely, obviously, that would make, obviously, him expendable. So let's anyways hop into this draft class, see what we're able to snag up here. But obviously first, we'll probably take Nathan MacKinnon right away, and then we'll see what we could get in terms of getting rid of Gagner. So let's already make our first overall selection here, not take too much time off the clock. Obviously, a lot of GMs like to wait to the last second, but Nathan MacKinnon is going to be joining the Edmonton Oilers. Very excited for him. Obviously, he's not going to be the highest overall out of the gate, it looks like, but he should develop into becoming a very good franchise player. Apparently similar to Wayne Gretzky, which is kind of interesting, and I know that he has X factors as well. So Nathan MacKinnon, welcome to the Edmonton Oilers. Very excited for that. 83 overall, that's a very good starting point. Obviously, he's just as good as Cameron already, which is pretty insane. Like, Cameron might be a little bit better, but we could easily use MacKinnon as our first-line center or first-line right wing, and Cameron could either be the first-line center or second-line center. So that's a very exciting pick. Very, very exciting. And should turn our team into being from kind of mediocre to a little bit better. Obviously, we should look maybe into some new coaches this offseason too. So that's definitely something I might look into. Let's go to find trade and see if any teams are willing to give us something for Sam Gagner, because he still has a lot of value. Only one trade is found, and it might honestly be the trade we've been looking for. 17th overall this year's draft, 47th overall this year's draft, and Sven Barchi from the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, I don't like the Habs in real life, but 17th overall this year would get us a good prospect. 47th should get us a good prospect. And then we also get Sven Barchi, who's a 75 at 20 is a high 9, which is pretty good. So he actually did play almost a full NHL season last year too, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, I think this is a no-brainer type of move. So we're going to send Sam Gagner to the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to bring in some good picks. Hopefully draft some good players with those picks. And also get Sven Barchi. So shout out to Sam Gagner on his way to Montreal. He's just been a bit of a douchebag. So there we go. Big deal done there. Might not work out in our favor. Might work out in our favor. But we needed to get rid of Sam Gagner. And that's the best way we could do it. He held out all year, so no way I'm just going to bring him back. And anyways, our center core, like having MacKinnon, Cameron, Brule's maybe a third-line option, is not too bad whatsoever. And then Marcoux still could end up developing into being a good guy too. Like, I kind of like our center core for the future right now quite a bit. So, all right, not bad at all. That's our one move we're probably going to make, I think, in this episode in terms of trades. So Gagner has been moved out. He gets a new start in Montreal. Let's see. So we're drafting 17th overall with that Habs pick now. Who's supposed to go around 17th? Rasmus Ristolainen. I mean, he is decent right now, 1 year out, but I don't really think Ristolainen's that much better than Bullock, but he might be okay to take. Honestly, we could draft Risto. He's not the best in terms of his defensive play, I know for a fact, but he's 1 year out. So maybe we go with him. Valnik Kushkin's good too. We could use more right wing prospects for like Jordan Eberle and stuff, as Barkov is on his way to Nashville. That's an interesting one. So there goes Alexander Barkov, just in case you guys want to see what Barkov was looking like. All right, let's continue looking at this draft class a little bit more in depth before we simulate to our pick, because I kind of want to know what we should pick with 17th. So Ristolainen and Nikushkin both look decent. Nikushkin could be actually a nice fit for our offensive core, but another defensive prospect might not be a bad idea. Oliver Bjorkstrand's also pretty solid too. There's almost no wrong answer with these selections. A lot of them are 1 year out. Pavel Buchnevich, 1 year out apparently. Like an Indomi. Goddamn, there's some good players. Tough decisions. There's some generated guys that have good potential too. There's Garrison, who's a gem. The guys I had pinned are not supposed to go for a while still, so we definitely aren't going to go off the board with our selection, but I'm not really too sure still what I want to take at 17th round. Let's actually just go like this as well, make it a bit easier. We could always try and move up, but I don't think it's worth it. I honestly might look into Ristolainen over Pollock, just because Ristolainen should have the same potential as Ryan Pollock, but he's going to be closer to NHL ready. I know in real life I would probably take Ryan Pollock over Rasmus Ristolainen, but it's either Risto or Nikushkin probably, or even Bjorkstrand for that matter. I do really like Oliver Bjorkstrand as a sniper kind of option, but I don't think I made him a medium 9. I'm pretty sure I made him a medium 6, unless he's a high 9, which I don't remember for sure. But he could be a really solid player behind Eberle. Let me take a look at our basically our core players right now. Do we really need a right winger like Nikushkin or Bjorkstrand? The answer to that is maybe. Toffoli's probably making the NHL this year. Him and Eberle could be the top 6 guys in the future. We also do have Yakupov we got to think about. What about defensively? Defensively, we do actually have a lot of right-handed defensemen right now. Petrie, Falk. Alberta McQuaid probably won't come back this offseason. So, yeah, we probably could use a lot more defensive prospects than forward prospects almost. Like, we do have some unsigned, like Colton Parayko, for instance. But I don't know if Parayko is going to fully pan out. Jurdev also we do have, but he's a lefty. Maybe we go for Ristolainen. I think we might go with Ristolainen with the next pick, unless he goes off the board beforehand. But let's take a look at the rest of this year's top 5 anyways, and it will sim to our pick. As Charpentier, a generated guy just as good as Nathan McKinnon, goes 3rd overall. So shout out to Carolina grabbing himself a really solid player there. Nice pickup for them. Tampa at 4 is going to select Elias Lindholm. I wish Elias Lindholm went to Carolina at 4 because I'm pretty sure Elias Lindholm did get drafted 4th overall or 5th overall back in 2013. I got to double check on that for fun. Elias Lindholm. Let's see. Was he a 4th overall selection? No, he was a 5th overall to Carolina. So, yeah, very close to where he actually went in the exact position, almost 2. So, he's on his way to Tampa. Nice little pickup there for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Columbus at 5 is going to select Jake Gensel. So, some decent selections there for all those teams in the top 5. Let's simulate to our pick at 17th that we just got from the Sam Gagner deal. As Jonathan Drouin's just on his way there. Ristolainen actually went earlier to the Atlanta Thrashers, so that actually might make our selection a little bit easier. I'm leaning towards either Nikushkin or Bjorkstrand. Obviously, there was a shout for Ryan Pollock, but Pollock, is he worth taking this early? Not really. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm going to draft Ryan Pollock. I was thinking about it, but I think I'm going to come down to Nikushkin or Bjorkstrand, and I think I'm going to go with Nikushkin just because he's supposed to go earlier based on that. Like, if we compare the two of these guys, Nikushkin's got better puck skills. Bjorkstrand has better senses. Bjorkstrand's a worse skater as well. Damn. Physical. Yeah, I think I'd lean towards Val Nikushkin. Now, what's kind of funny is apparently Nikushkin has bad character, which might be right on the nose. I'm not too sure if he's a bad person or not, but it's the only thing that's not great about him. They're both exactly 1 year out. Probably have the exact same potential, too. I think I'm going to go for Nikushkin. Yeah, let's go with Val. Let's go with Big Val. We could go with Burakovsky, but I don't remember how good I made Burakovsky, so I'm going to go with Big Val. And he's going to join Nathan McKinnon. I think that's kind of cool too anyways, because both of them are on Colorado in real life right now. So, Big Val, welcome aboard. Boom. And he's a 74 overall, medium 6, power forward. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. No X factors, but should be a pretty solid player for us. Obviously, he's AHL eligible too, which is also a nice thing. So we could have him and Yakupov both in the minors next season if we really want to. All right, let's simulate to our next pick. We do actually have another late first-round pick. I did forget that we did have a late first-round pick. Actually, this is an early second-rounder. I thought it was a first-rounder because it's 31st, but there's 30 teams at this point. I got to remember that. Let's see what we could take here. There is this Chorney guy. The next player we have pinned is not supposed to go till 85. Actually, we didn't even pin Zach Sanford, never mind, until 94th, which is quite a while still. So we could definitely still go on the board a little bit here. What do we want? Ooh, this generated Hlinka guy's NHL ready. Well, I think that makes that maybe a no-brainer to go with him. What about Lou Chorney? Lou Chorney's pretty good damn too. God damn, I didn't realize these guys were that good. And then there's a high top 9, obviously JT Compher that I made. But I think it comes down to Marek Hlinka or Chorney. Let's see, ABB, or A minus BB. Let's check on Chorney. Chorney has 3 Bs in a row. He's ABAB, basically. Let me double check this. ABAB as well. This is going to be a close decision on the two of these guys. Let's see, B and A. Let me double check on Hlinka. B and A. The skating is a little bit better, I think, on Hlinka over Chorney. Come on, you stupid thing. Load. Thank you. Yeah, Chorney's a little bit better of a skater. Or not Chorney. Hlinka's a better skater. So, but he also does have a weakness in character, too, which we know character could play a factor, just like it did with Sam Gagner, maybe a bit. I think we're going to go for Hlinka just because he's supposed to go earlier and he's a little bit better of a skater. I don't think there's a wrong decision with this pick, but they're both NHL ready. We're going to bring in the Slovak in Marek Hlinka, and he's going to join the Oilers. Boom. 78 overall. God damn. This is going to be a really good draft class for this team. Like, we might end up helping out or rebuild quite a bit with how we draft. So, Marek Hlinka joining the team. It would be nice to have another early second rounder, but I know we do have multiple seconds. So maybe we could still grab the other one if we really wanted to move up, but I don't think I need to, really. If we look to our draft board, we still have, the 9th, the 17th, and the 22nd. I mean, I could try and move up, but is it worth it? I don't know. What could we get around a few spots from now? Let's see, because Chorney's nice, but he's probably going to go off the board here shortly. There is another gem in Garrison. I mean, we could draft Garrison too. He's actually looks really solid too. So you know what? We might not even need to move up, because we might just take Garrison with our next pick. Or we go with a Ford. Ooh, man. Wow. A lot of these generated guys are looking good too. God damn. Was not looking at them much in last episode, but now I'm seeing some good potential steals for us, which is exciting. All right, let's simulate to our next pick. See what we could get at 39. And see if we made some right calls here. So yeah, well, I could go with Garrison or we could go with Latty. Latty is a left wing two-way forward. It's kind of nice because it would be good for the bottom 6 or third line, similar to Phil Kessel. I do like Garrison as another defensive prospect, but I feel like I'm drafting a lot of them. Garrison would be 1 year out. Latty's 1 year out too. Because our first few selections this year, we've drafted a forward, a defender. Maybe 2 defenders wouldn't be a bad idea. We are going to be drafting another defenseman later on in Mackey. And then also maybe Rodriguez. Nelson we might draft. Let's go for the forward, I think. Actually, wait. Yeah, let's go for the forward just because I'm drafting another defenseman later. I mean, Steve Garrison could be a nice complementary defender to have next to the OFD we draft later. Same with the guy we just drafted, though, too. Let's go with Lahti. Let's go with Lahti as our selection. So, Joakim Lahti from Finland. Let's take him. Boom. And he's a 73 overall. Solid starting point. Once again, another guy that could play in the AHL next season if we really wanted. Or we could just let him sit for a bit. But A lot of our HL team might get reflipped a bit, and we might put a lot of our younger guys in it just so we could kind of get them into the lineup a little bit early and hopefully developing. All right, let's simulate to our next selection, 47th. See if we could find any other steals in the second round here. There is Nick Paul. Obviously, Nick Paul's a good player, but I don't know if I really want to draft real players, to be honest. Let me take a look again at our draft board. After the second round, we have one more extra third, and then it's just our normal picks. So we probably should soon start taking some of the steals, but not yet. Not yet. Who do we want to take with this next selection? Par Markstrom. He's not bad. There's medium nines like Miles Wood and stuff, but I feel like we don't really want to draft real players in a sense. Wow. I'm not going for UC Saros. I know he's fantastic, good potential and all that, but I'd prefer an AI team to take him. Just because we already have friggin' Vasilevsky. We don't want to make our team too good, you know? So, I'm just not going to even look at him, even though he is very tempting to take. What about Holden? Holden's maybe 2 years out. That's kind of intriguing. You know what? Let's go for Dale Holden. Go a little bit off the board here with this selection. Boom. Medium 665. Wow. So that's a good selection. Not as good a potential, or better potential than Ryan Hartman. Not as good overall, but not a bad steal there. Not a bad steal at all. Definitely could develop into being something for us. All right, next pick is 52nd. Maybe we'll start to go off a little bit off the board here with those players I want already, so that way I get them all. So the next player we would be taking would be Nelson, I guess. Which, I mean, it's still a little bit early. I could get him next round, hypothetically, but obviously Mackey and Rosa go both pretty close apart, so let's just go a little bit off the board. Go with Jamie Nelson already, get the players we wanted, boom. And Nelson's a low 6, damn, I was hoping for a low elite. That's not as good of a selection as I was hoping, but it's a good overall for a 17-year-old, so maybe this guy could end up becoming something for us. If not, maybe at the AHL level, but that's still not a bad selection, but I was hoping for better than that. Third round now. We will probably try and go a little bit off the board again here. And we'll probably already go for Rosa, and then we'll take Mackey with the next selection, so Roman Rosa, who's medium elite potential, guaranteed, but he is 20 years old, 5 years out. He's not going to be the best elite player probably in the world, but still gives us more potential in the system, and that's what I want. Boom. 55 overall. I'll take it. I'll take it. Definitely earlier than he was projected to go, but I still would rather take him while I have the chance. 75th. 75th. What do we got with 75th? I could go for some of these guys like Jari and all that, but Let's go with Mackey with the next selection here, because I do really want to draft Mackey, and I'm excited to see how he develops. So let's just grab Bessa Mackey already. Boom. And he is a 57 overall. That's a pretty solid starting point, to be honest. If he develops the right way, this guy could end up becoming a very good player for us. So let's hope that we can get his offensive awareness and his attributes up there a lot too. So nice little steal there. He definitely could have went later, but I honestly don't care that I'm taking him early. All right, the last guy I have pinned is Rodriguez. He's not supposed to get drafted, so I might just wait till the 7th round to take him. But our other selections, I mean, there's like guys that are bottom 6 career guys like Hudson Fasching. I don't really need those type of guys. I don't know if there's anybody else really worth taking. Andrei Zalichki's not bad as a low 4. I don't really need more defensive prospects, though, is the thing. So I don't think there's anybody I want to take really more in this draft class other than that guy. Oh, there's a medium elite goalie. I mean, I don't want more goalies, like I said. I want the computers to take him. This guy looks fantastic, though, too, as a 19-year-old medium elite goalie. But we already have Vasilevsky. We have Grubauer. Once again, just because I didn't take Saros, I'm not going to take Sergei Semyonov. I know he looks fantastic, but I'd prefer the AI to get those type of guys. I want to make sure the NHL is a little bit balanced. So we're not going to take Semyonov. But if you guys could remind me maybe in like 5-10 seasons to look up this guy, maybe we'll look him up and see where he is at that point. Bob Yashin. Shout out to Bob Yashin. What a name. God damn. Griffin. Bennett Griffin. Yeah, there's not really... maybe we could take a chance on Stuart Tkachuk, because he could be a low lead. So let's go with a random guy that could be a low lead. Boom. And he's a low 465. I mean, that's an okay starting point. It's kind of similar to that low 6 that we drafted. So we'll see if he ends up developing. But Stuart Tkachuk has joined the team. And we'll take Rodriguez with this pick probably already. And then the next 2 picks I might just trade away, honestly. I don't even know. Just because this draft class isn't the craziest anymore. Corbin Rodriguez joined the team. Hopefully you're a low elite. And you are a low elite. 50 overall. Nice steal there with Mr. Rodriguez. I'll definitely take that. A lot of good defensive prospects in this draft class for our team, which is great to see. Should I try and trade away this 6th and 7th? I don't think I could really get much for them, but we'll see if there's a team that's willing to take them both for something in the future, because I just don't see really any good picks with this selection. A 4th rounder and a medium 9. Damn, 75 different trades found for these 2 picks. Apparently the AI likes these picks. I'm not taking Wenberg. I'm not taking anybody super good. A 3rd round pick. Oh my goodness. Why is the AI willing to give me a 3rd rounder for these late of picks? I might honestly just have to do that. You know what? Let's take this one. Boom. Take them, St. Louis. Take my selections. I don't need them. All right, so there is that. Let's simulate the rest of this draft, and let's see where everything went. But first and foremost, obviously, our draft. I think this was a very good draft for our team. Nathan MacKinnon, of course, the franchise player. Nikushkin, a medium 6. I think that's exciting. Halinka is a 78 overall. Medium 4 is fantastic. I think that's a good pick. Obviously, it kind of sucks that I didn't go with Ryan Pulock in a way, but I think, obviously, bringing in guys like Halinka, I think will help this team out a lot. We also get top 6 forwards in Lahti and Holden. Excited for them. Nelson is a low 6. Could be intriguing. Rosa is a medium elite prospect. Intriguing, but he is 20. Mackey as a low elite offensive defenseman. Very exciting. Tkachuk is a low 4 defenseman. Could end up being, like I said, kind of similar to Nelson in a way in terms of potential. And then Rodriguez as a low elite. Maybe he develops. Maybe he doesn't. But I think that's a really good draft for us. In terms of what the AI drafted, let's see where everybody went. So that way we could see what the 2013 draft was like. So Seth Jones on his way to Ottawa because we saw the top 5. Bo Horvat on his way to Phoenix. Sean Monahan to Colorado. Josh Morrissey to Calgary. Darnell Nurse to Florida. Tyler Bertuzzi to Philadelphia. Anthony Duclair does go to the Islanders as we expected. Malachi Hartman is a generated guy. Rasmus Ristolainen to Atlanta as we saw. Jonathan Drouin to the Rangers. Andre Burakovsky heads to Detroit. Oliver Bjorkstrand to the Rangers. Pavel Buchnevich to Chicago. Anthony Mantha to Boston. Arturi Lehkonen to Anaheim. Max Domi to St. Louis. Brett Pesce to Vancouver. Ryan Pulock finds his way to Pittsburgh. Alexander Wenberg to Washington. Andrew Kopp to Toronto. Nikita Zadorov to San Jose. The Drew Doughty guy got drafted by LA. That's actually hilarious. No way. I was not anticipating that. I completely forgot. Since LA won the Cup in last episode over New Jersey a year late, Drew Doughty, there was a generated Drew Doughty that was playing for the Sudbury Wolves. He gets drafted by the LA Kings. So, LA is going to literally have a Drew Doughty that's, or 2 Drew Doughtys that are defenders. Is this one a defender? I can't remember, but I really hope they don't trade that one away, because it would be kind of insane if they have 2 Drew Doughtys on the team and just run with that. So, shout out to the Kings for making a meme. Second rounder anyways. We got JT Compher going to Ottawa. Dominic Kubalik to Colorado. Aside from that, we have Carter Verhaeghe on his way to Colorado. That's somebody that we should have probably looked into drafting, because I'm pretty sure I made him a low lead, but that's a really nice pickup for the Avs. Mirko Mueller to Buffalo, I think that is. Ryan Hartman goes to the Sens. Nick Paul to Phoenix. Sven Andrighetto to Atlanta. Jason Dickinson finds himself in Chicago. Realism. Obviously, he played there after Dallas. Miles Wood to Vancouver. UC Saros ends up a Penguin. Damn. That's a good pickup for the Penguins. Andreas Johnsson to Toronto. That's realistic, because obviously he played there for a little bit. Aside from that, Shea Theodore, I made him a low lead. I forgot about him in this draft class. He finds his way to Tampa Bay. Carson Soucy to Colorado. Will Butcher to Toronto. Ryan Graves to Anaheim. Madison Bowie to Colorado. Marco Dano to Toronto. Robert Hagg to Dallas. Tucker Pullman to Florida. Matthias Janmark to Philadelphia. Connor Clifton to Dallas. Curtis Lazar to Nashville. Josh Brown to Florida. Realistic. Buffalo to, or not Buffalo to, what am I saying? William Carrier to Buffalo, realistic. Tristan Jarry to Colorado. So Colorado getting a good goalie prospect there. Tyler Mott to Boston. Pontus Aberg to Anaheim. Mackenzie Weegar to Vancouver. Nick Petan to Washington. Ben Harper to Columbus. Anton Slepyshev to the Kings. I forgot about making him too. Jacob Delarose to Tampa Bay. Adam Ernie to Washington. John Hayden to Phoenix. Freddie Gauthier to Anaheim. Michael McCarron to Dallas. Zach Sanford to Florida. Hudson Fasching to Philadelphia, not Phoenix. Steven Santini to Nashville. That's realistic. He played there for a bit. Johnny Brodzinski to the Thrashers. Interesting. Anybody else? Marcus Granlund to Chicago. Dylan Hetherington to Boston. Carl Dahlstrom to Anaheim. Ian McCoshen to St. Louis. Kyle Burrows on his way to Pittsburgh, I think. Aside from that, that might be it. A lot of generated names, though, too. And then there's Cal Pearson to Carolina for goalies. There's probably a few more goalies still. Hopefully I don't forget anybody, but I'm trying to make sure I point out every single player that I made, at least. Spencer Martin on his way to Colorado, like real life, so that's cool. Pretty sure that's Spencer Martin, unless it's a generated Martin, but I don't think so. Zach Fucali to the Buffalo Sabres. And it's an interesting one. Anybody else? Double checking through all these players. That might be the last one that we just saw. Oh, wait, Remy Ellie to Florida. That's definitely one. Curtis Gabriel to Philadelphia. Kirby Reichel to the Islanders. Ryan Graves? No, that can't be Ryan Graves. He wouldn't have gone that late, right? I don't think so, at least. He goes to Nashville if that is him. Anton Bleed to Carolina. I think that might be it. Nick Baptiste to Boston. Have to shout out him since I know one of his cousins. Hunter Shankaruk to Anaheim. And that is it. So that, oh, actually, Nikolai Prohorkin. We don't want to forget Nikolai Prohorkin. He finds himself in New Jersey. So that is the 2013 draft class in the last custom draft class of this franchise mode, which is unfortunate, but at least it was a fun one like that. All right, before we advance into the Resign stage, we do need to go ahead and go to settings and make sure we turn up the draft class quality, because I do not want to forget about doing that before next season, because we want it to be a good draft, a solid draft, not a crazy good draft, but obviously with the custom draft classes, I turned down the draft quality a little bit, so we will set this to medium for both of those, just back to basically where it was before we adjusted it. All right, so that's nice and set up. Next, we are going to also take a quick look and see if there was any trades at the draft, just because we don't normally do that, but sometimes there's movement. So just a lot of picks getting dealt. Any players get dealt? Corey Stillman finds himself in Boston from Phoenix. Minnesota gets a bunch of prospects. Brian Rust and that Gallagher guy that the Rangers drafted. The Rangers get a first-round pick in that deal, so that's kind of interesting. And then obviously there's our big deal, the Sam Gagner deal. I hope that's a good deal for him. I think obviously we could have probably gotten maybe more for him, but we just got rid of him. I think Berchi could end up becoming something decent for us. The first round pick, obviously, we drafted a pretty good player anyways with that pick, so I think that's good. That second rounder ended up helping us out a little bit too. I think it was a good deal. And at least we have the center to replace him with Nathan McKinnon anyways, so it's not a huge loss if we got gypped a bit. All right, so now that that's all set and good, let's get to this resign stage, see what we got to resign. We will not bring back the AHL head coach because it does... Actually, wait, the AHL head coach was a good coach, right? Yeah, we'll bring back actually Marquardt as an AHL head coach because he's actually not that bad as an AHL one, so we'll hold on to him. I was thinking he was not that good, but we'll bring him back. We will need to look into maybe some new coaches in the next episode for the NHL team. Just because we want to make sure we kind of similarly okay, not too good, but we do got some scouts to bring back as well. So we'll just bring them back for at least for now. We could always look to upgrade our scouts a little bit more, but I think our scouting pool is getting good enough that we don't really need to worry too much about upgrading it every single offseason. But obviously we can. What was that other name other than Mikulski? Who was the other scout that needed to be re-signed? Because I did not look at the name. I probably should have. Let's see. It's got to be one of these ones near the bottom, right? Because I don't think I passed on anybody so far. Oh, there it is. 2 of mine. And of course, it's the one right at the bottom of the list. But yeah, we still have a bunch of B scouts, so we could replace them with A scouts if there's some out there, but it's not necessary. But we'll probably look into it in case. So in terms of our contracts this offseason, how much money we got to spend? 41 million bucks. We are going to go first to our unsigned players and obviously sign Nathan McKinnon to his ELC. He's too good not to sign right now. We'll also give an ELC already to Hlinka, and we'll also give Yakupov his ELC because he didn't get any growth as an unsigned prospect. So we might as well sign him up. We could sign Val already too, and Latty, hypothetically. And even Brock McGinn for that matter. Maybe I let go of some guys in the AHL just to make room. Yeah, maybe I do. We'll see. So I think in terms of AHL players, I'm just going to kind of clean house a little bit. So let go of guys like Ryan O'Mara, Zach Stortini. Just kind of see if we could find ways to free people up a bit. Taylor Chorney as well, even though he's been a depth defender for us at times. Also, probably somebody like Ryan O'Byrne is fine to get rid of. We'll probably let go of like guys like Brett Sterling, who are good AHLers and all that too. Liam Reddicks, just kind of free up some roster space a bit with the contracts, because I know we have a lot of contracts still to give out. We are definitely giving Boone Jenner his ELC. Most of these other unsigned prospects aren't really that great, so we'll probably let go of all of them almost, just because I don't think these guys are going to pan out. Even this medium 9 really isn't that great. He's a 60 at 19. So I'd prefer to sign some other prospects instead. So we'll let go of all those prospects except for Boone. We'll probably let go of maybe every single one of these guys too. They're not old, a lot of them, but we are going to let go of like Ryan Jones. We could have probably flipped him away, but whatever. Matt D'Agostini. Yeah, I'm going to let go of probably all these kind of options for now. We might as well replace them with people. I might try and still hold on to Laddie Schmid a bit, but we might as well just like kind of clean house a bit. Schmid's not bad, but I am going to let him go actually, I think, too. We might as well just free up a lot of roster space and see what we actually want to have on our roster next season. We are going to let go of Jeff Delorier as well, so sorry to Tyler. He's a big Jeff Delorier fan, but his time here is done, so salute to Jeff Delorier. Best of luck to him in free agency. And we're going to sign Danielson to his ELC, so we'll get him signed up. Aside from that, our RFAs, we're going to go to the bottom of this. We could hold on to some of these guys. So we'll probably, we'll definitely hold on to like Hodgson and all that. Maybe all these RFAs we'll hold on to, but Hodgson only wants a two-way deal. Riley Nash might only still want a two-way deal, yeah. There's a chance that some of these guys might not pan out much more, which is unfortunate, but we'll give them what they're asking for. I'm just trying to hold on to them a little bit since they're still young enough. So sign them all up, and then we'll see if we need any unsigned guys to fill out our AHL team a bit. So let's advance, see if all those guys accept. We also do need to bring in Jordan Eberle on a bigger contract, so I'll do that as well. Okay, it looks like all of them are accepting, of course, which is good. Jordan Eberle, we're going to give you a long-term deal if you want it. You do not have a lot of organizational interest. Oh, man, I'm kind of scared that he could end up like friggin' like Gagne. I'm going to just give him what he's asking for right now, because if I adjusted this at all, it could make him mad. So let's just try and give him what he's asking for and see if he does not become like the frigging guy that Sam Gagne became. Also, I think we'll definitely sign Yakupov, like I said, to his ELC. Get him in for the AHL. I'm not too sure about Nishkushkin, Laddie, and McGinn yet, but there's a good chance we might need more AHLers. We also will sign Vasilevsky to his ELC, I think, already. So we are going to have a lot of goalies in the minors too, but we'll have to make some decisions probably. All right, so did anybody reject? Vasilevsky, of course, is on board. Same with Yakupov. Eberle rejected. Nothing specifically wrong with it, but I just feel like I need to test free agency. Don't do this to me, Jordan. Don't do this to me. You do not need to test free agency. I'm willing to overpay on you too. I'm going to give you more money than you probably deserve at this stage, just because I know that if you keep on complaining, you're going to end up like Sam Gagne. And I think you need to be here. I think you need to be here. And once we actually start winning games, you'll be much more happy. But I think it's just because we're losing a lot that he's not happy. Will he accept this? The answer is yes, he will. So Jordan Eberle is not like Sam Gagne. We give him more money. He accepts the money, which is great. Do we need any more AHLers under contract, out of curiosity? Like, we definitely have enough AHL goalies. We might have to think about trading Tuomainen in the next episode, because Danielson and Vasilevsky running the AHL sounds better, probably. Tuomainen might not pan out, so we're good on goalies. Grubauer probably makes the NHL this season as the backup behind Devin Dubnyk. Defensively, we have Petri Falk, Kalinka makes the NHL, Spiza, Plante, Safronov. We're going to need some defensive help. That's definitely something we need to sign. So if you guys see any defenders when we go to the free agency portion, let me know, because we will need to bring in some defensemen for the NHL team. Because hypothetically in the AHL, I'd like to run Plante, Safronov, Zherdev, Peckham, maybe, Janssen. Cece's not under contract. Yeah, I think we have enough defensemen signed in the AHL. But we do need more in the NHL to basically push guys like Plante back to the AHL. Goalies, like I said, we're good. Forwards that are in the NHL right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We might be okay with our offensive core right now, but we do need cap whales. So that's an interesting thing. But if we use Van de Velde as like a depth option, stuff like that, we have technically in the AHL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, not 7. 7 with Shaw. 8 with Fata. 9 with Jenner. 10. We're going to need to sign some more forwards, I think, for the AHL. Which is good, since that's what I kind of wanted to sign. So we'll probably sign all 3 of these guys to their ELC. So we'll sign Big Val to his ELC for the AHL for sure. I think we'll sign Lahti already for his ELC. And we'll also sign Brock McGinn too. Just to give us as much players as we need down there in the minors. But I do think we need at least, like, in terms of forwards, we probably don't need anything in the NHL. But defensively, we're definitely going to need more. Because I'm okay with probably running Halinka this season and Spiza. But we do need more, one more right-hander, one more left-hander, and then a depth defenseman. We could use Plante as that guy, but I'd prefer to maybe make it a bit stronger. So that's probably what we look into. We don't really need goalies or forwards, but we also do need some cap whales. So I don't really know exactly what we're going to go with for that. But let's advance today, see if those RFA, our unsigned guys accept, which all of them should. Yes, they do. Perfect. All right, let's simulate to free agency and see what there is available potentially this year for us to bring in this offseason if there's going to be any big names. We'll also look at the trading block just in case there's any big trades that we want to make still as well. So in terms of UFAs, let's go through every position. Not that we're going to literally sign a goalie, but let's look through all this. So the best goalie available is Ben Bishop, who will be testing free agency. So that's a pretty big one. So St. Louis is still, I guess, technically prioritizing Halak, which means Ben Bishop will be joining a new team this coming season. He had a really good year last year, so I'm curious if he's going to end up in Tampa or something like that, like real life. The team that's interested in him right now is the Florida Panthers, so he might be heading to the same state. And, yeah, he's going to be probably their number 1. So shout out to that. Pascal Leclerc, Brian Elliott. It's like a graveyard of former Sens goalies, which is kind of funny. Heavy Bullen still kicking around. Interesting. Okay, so there's like some of the goalies. Like I said, we could use some defenders, so this is where we might sign some players. Zdeno Chara is heading to free agency. That's a weird one. Kind of surprised that Chara has left Boston. I wonder what team is interested in him right now. Oh, it is still Boston, so he might return to the Bruins, to be honest. There's also Nick Hjalmarsson, who's been dealt multiple times. He's got 3 teams interested in him. Nick Hjalmarsson's a good player, but is he what we need at this stage? Like, is he going to make us too good? I'm not too sure, but he's already been on 3 teams in this franchise mode at the age of 26. He definitely might make us too good if we signed him, but he is a nice 26-year-old defenseman, so he's not too old. There's also Lubo, Rob Scuderi. A lot of these other guys are veterans, like Rob Blake's 43 years old at this point. Bruno Gervais as a 28-year-old is not bad. Chris Russell as a 26-year-old might be one of those defenders I would bring in. He was dealt last year from Columbus to St. Louis. We could bring him into Edmonton like he actually played in real life. Might not be a bad option. He does block a lot of shots in real life. I'm not too sure about in this game. He's not blocking as much shots in real life as in this game as in real life, but still, Chris Russell, young defenseman, could fit that top 6 kind of nicely. There's also Mark Mathot. A lot of other guys are in their 30s, though. So if you guys see anybody you want me to look into, let me know. Because I really am open to signing basically anybody just to fill out the roster a bit. Or sign somebody good. We could always bring in Mark Fistrick. He did play for the Oilers around this point. Jakob Kindle's also a free agent. So maybe he's decent enough. Matt Frazier, I think that is. Alright, Ash. Mark Frazier? Mark Frazier. Yeah, Mark Frazier, not Matt. What about forwards that are in free agency? What do we got? Chris Stewart, the best forward in terms of right wingers. Him, Burrows, Joffrey Lupul, Alex Kovalev. Like I said, forwards aren't really necessarily something we need, but there is guys like Patrick Hornqvist, Peter Mueller. So some younger options available if we really wanted. But Kyle Clutterbuck as a fourth line guy might be okay. I mean, that's not a bad forward to have probably. He does usually hit a lot in real life. He's only played 8 games the last 2 years, though, because Minnesota's used him as a healthy scratch. And he does not throw as much hits as I was hoping for, but still in real life, obviously, he was a big hitter. So, shout out to Cal. In terms of left wingers, what do we got? Scott Hartnell's the best left winger available. Paul Correa's still kicking around. Marcus Naslund still hasn't retired. Same with Brian Rolston. James Neal's a free agent at 25. There is some honestly solid young options, but would it make our team too good right now? Probably. Do we already want to surround Nathan MacKinnon with good free agents? I'm not too sure. Maybe Sean Mathias is a bottom 6 option, or Michael Grabner might not be bad. If we wanted more forwards, that is. Alex Vasyanov's not bad. Centers, what do they got? Stephen Weiss, Rich Peverly. 21-year-old low lead, 81 overall. What the fuck? He went 6th round to the LA Kings, 177th overall. They cannot afford him or what? They probably can't afford him. Maybe they just didn't want to sign him because they just won a Stanley Cup or something. Or maybe he didn't want to sign there because of the Stanley Cup. But my God, this guy's a power forward too. Holy moly. There's no teams interested in him right now, too. He's a UFA. Just because he literally went drafted and nobody wanted to re-sign him, or the Kings didn't want to re-sign him. They are stupid for that, but do we just take this guy away because of that? He's a very physical power forward, though. Like, he's not got the crazy shooting category yet, as a typical power forward does. But look at that physical attribute. So, like, 98 strength, 94 body checking, 93 aggressiveness. 81 fighting skill. And they didn't sign him to his ELC. Well, I think that might be a no-brainer because we could use this guy as a right winger next to Nathan MacKinnon or next to even Cameron as a guy behind Jordan Eberle or above Jordan Eberle. Wow. Well, I was not expecting that. That's definitely, I think, going to be our priority is signing that guy for a forward position, but we do need still defenders. This guy would only just get on his ELC now too, which is nice. So he's very cheap. Wow. I was not expecting to see that in the slightest. But that's an interesting one. I don't know why the Kings didn't sign him because he's only wanting his ELC. Are they under? They might be at 50 out of 50 contracts. So maybe by us trading Patrick O'Sullivan, that maybe screwed things up. I'll definitely look at the Kings after this, but goddamn. That's definitely a priority, I'd say. Definitely a priority. Bringing in that guy to surround some of our younger guys with. Like, that's like a perfect player to surround, like, Nathan MacKinnon with. That's amazing. All right. What about the best RFAs available right now? Who's, like, holding out at the moment? Turris, Stepan, Matt Martin, Nick Spaulding, and Evgeny Grachev. Nobody crazy on forwards. Defense, nobody there. And no RFA goalies. All right. Well, let's go and look at the LA Kings now and see why they can't sign that prospect, just to see if there's an actual reason to it. And the answer is they're strapped for cap. And they only have 23 out of 50 contracts signed into next season with only $2 million in cap space. And this is exactly why Tugi hates some of the stuff that EA has in franchise mode. Like, where is the logic in this whatsoever. Like, how do you only have 2 million in cap space, but 23 out of 50 contracts signed? Like, they're not going to have a single AHL player almost under contract. Like, in the system, nobody is signed in the AHL at the moment, so they only have an NHL team under contract. Oh my god, 2 goalies. They do have one AHL goalie under contract, but goddamn, they're going to be just filled with a bunch of 48s. So the Manchester Monarchs probably next season are going to be absolutely atrocious compared to the first 2 years when they won Calder Cups. But goddamn, that's insane. I'm surprised they don't have much cap space, but I guess it's because they're paying Ryan Smith still for a year. Once they get rid of Ryan Smith, Paul Martin, Dustin Brown, they probably have more cap space, but wow. They are definitely in a bit of a tough spot financially. And maybe that's why they let go of that guy, but they definitely could have still signed him, but they didn't. So we'll definitely try and pick up that player probably for sure in the next episode. Aside from that, let's lastly take a look at the trading block and see if there's anything interesting out there, but I think we're pretty much good. Saku Koivu, Dominic Moore. We're not looking for vets at this point, really. Just younger players. Derek Stepan's already on the block in Atlanta, too. Probably because Atlanta's strapped for cap, likely. Or they're just because he's an RFA. But, my God. This league is a little bit weird right now. Didn't expect it to go like this at this point. Anthony Mantha is a prospect. What else we got? Sorry about that. Got interrupted by some lawnmowers and whippersnappers, or whatever you want to call those things. Weed whackers. Calgary's got more vets we don't really need. Carolina, nothing. Chicago, nothing crazy. Colorado, pretty much just defensemen. Columbus has Antoine Vermette. Sean Horkoff is back on the block again. Dallas, Scrashens is on the block. Nothing there really in Detroit, Florida. I don't think trades are what we're going to look into. I definitely think we sign that guy from the Kings. And then also we sign, obviously, a couple defenders to fill it out. And I think we're good. Obviously, we're going to need to give some of those defenders that we signed, though, a lot of money. Just to make it close to the cap compliant. They have Martin St. Louis already on the block in New York. Rangers, Jonathan Drouin immediately thrown on the block. Why are the Rangers trying to offload guys that they just drafted, though? Like, do they really think that just drafting Kucherov and Philip Forsberg is going to be good enough? Like, they need to have that depth, too, in their system. Chichu's on the block. Philly's got Briere. There's some good players on the block. Like, there could be some pretty crazy trades this offseason, potentially. Or at the draft. Or not at the draft, at the not a re-sign stage. What am I saying? Goddamn. At the trade deadline. Wow, even Joe Pavelski's on the trading block. That's a pretty substantial one. Surprised San Jose would want to trade him right now. Yeah, he's been a fantastic player. Obviously, San Jose has no cup yet, but still. St. Louis has some prospects. Yeah, I don't really know if there's a trade that we'd want to even make. Wait a second. Ryan Malone maybe waived his clause. Or no, maybe it changed his over to modified at that point. I can't remember. But Ryan Malone might have a chance to get dealt. Tim Connolly, Jonas Gustafsson. Corey Schneider on the block at 27. And finally, the Washington Capitals. Not really too much either. Yeah, I don't know if there's really any trades to happen. I think the main things we do, sign that guy from the Kings. We sign some defensemen, like I said, to basically make us more cap compliant. And aside from that, I don't know if there's really much else we need to bring in. We do need a lot of cap, though. But, like, if we bring in that guy from the Kings, as I was mentioning, he is a center. He's not a right winger. But imagine having, like, basically our top line being, say, Nathan McKinnon, Jordan Eberle, and a left winger. And then our second line being Cameron, that guy as a right winger that we were just looking at, and another left winger. Like, that could be a really nasty top six if we build it like that. So anyways, that's pretty much it for this episode, guys, of our Edmonton Oilers Throwback 2010 franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll fill out a roster a little bit more. We'll try and make ourselves cap compliant as well. But I think this is going to be a really exciting team this season because obviously having Nathan McKinnon and Cameron as our top two centers, potentially signing this guy that the Kings let go of as well for that top 6, having Jordan Eberle. Like, we're starting to build up a really nice team almost in a way. Like, we're going to have a lot of good young talent in the AHL as well, and some good talent in the NHL that I think maybe this rebuild will go faster than expected, but excited to see what ends up happening, obviously, with the team during the season next year as well. We probably won't simulate to any of next season in next episode again. We'll probably just look at teams' rosters and such because we're going into the 2013-14 season. But yeah, excited just to see what our teams end up looking like going into another year. And hopefully it's not as bad of a year this upcoming year as it was the last season. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.